Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn how to use conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. Now usually in our data presentation, we might like to highlight on certain condition or criteria. For example, we may want to highlight a substantial growth in sales or the amount of value we have lost. All we need to do is to use the conditional formatting function in Excel to set some criteria, and it will visualize the data in the way we want it. Conditional formatting function can be found under the Home tab, Style section. Click on this expand arrow, and there's a few options available. This highlight sales rules is the most commonly used. It is very straightforward, either to specially highlight data that is greater or lesser than a certain value, or data in between two values, or equals to certain value. If the data is a text, we can use this to highlight cells containing certain text. Same thing we can do if the data is a date. We can use this a data occurring part. I already have a sample data here, which is the midterm score for these people. Let's try to highlight test scores that are above 70 points. First, we highlight the score points, and we go to conditional formatting. Choose highlight cell rules greater than 70. We use this section to tell Excel exactly how we want to visualize the test score that is above 70 points. By default, it is usually set to light red field with dark red text. Or we can select any of these options from the pick list. The last option here, custom format, allows us to customize it. Let's try to make it bold font in white color. And the cell fill color to blue. Click OK. Or we can choose to visualize score points that are between 70 and 90. First, highlight the score cells, conditional formatting, highlight cell rows, and choose this between option. So I'm going to change this to be between 70 and 90. Click OK. Now here we have a column for status with pass, distinction, and fail. Let's say we want to know which student have failed their midterm. We should highlight this column, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and text that contains fail. Click OK. Now we know there are 3 students who have failed their midterm test. For data containing dates, let's look at this table for K-pop groups Infinite's World Tour concert schedule. Let's say I would like to highlight concerts that were scheduled for next month. I will highlight the date columns, and I will use this highlight cell rules, a data occurring, and select next month. Click OK. Finally, we have this highlight cells for duplicate value, which is something I frequently use. There's one more function, which is this highlight cell rules for duplicate values. This is something I frequently use. It is very useful when we want to double check to make sure there isn't any duplications of data. I will highlight the country or the city column and click on Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rows, and select Duplicate Values. Immediately, we notice that Bangkok and Manila schedule had appeared twice over here. Hence, we can delete these duplicates. Now let's refer to this data table showing the sales of snacks in the cinema. We can use this conditional formatting, top-bottom rows, in order to highlight either top 10 items, top 10%, or bottom items, or any items with sales above average and below average. So for example, I'm going to highlight top 10 bestseller. So this is how we know that these items that were already highlighted in pink are the bestseller for this cinema. Or we can choose to have the top 10%. This shows that soft drinks alone contribute to 10% of the sales for the whole cinema. Take note that we can actually change the percentage value that we want Excel to highlight over here. For example, I'm going to change this to 20%. So now we know popcorn M size and popcorn L size plus the soft drinks contributed to 20% of the overall snack sales. The bottom 10 items and bottom 10% works exactly the same way. So I'll skip over to above average selection. Now how does this above average and below average works? I will use a formula to get the average for all this sales quantity of the snacks. And we got the number that the average sales is 7,495. Hence, if you highlight this, go to Conditional Formatting, and using this above average, you'll notice that all these numbers that are above this 7,495 will be highlighted. If I choose below average instead, then anything below this number will be highlighted. Next up is the data bar. It basically visualizes the data into charts, so we can clearly see which values are higher and which are the lower ones. Next up is the data bar. It basically visualizes the data into charts, so we can clearly see which values are higher and which are the lower ones. For color scale, it will color the value according to criteria set. For example, I will choose this color scale of green, yellow, and red. As you can see, green will represent the highest value, yellow will be the average value, whereas those in red are those of lowest value. We move on to icon set, which is an interesting way to visualize data. This directional icon set is using the arrow symbol to depict the value. For example, the arrow pointing up represents the higher value number. The arrow pointing to right or left represents the average values. And lastly, the arrow pointing down means it's below average value. So from here we can clearly see that soft drinks has the highest sales, while those in red arrows are the lower sales item. And these popcorns are the average bestseller. Now at this point, you might be wondering, how does Excel calculate and categorize this data into high, average, and lower value? We can look at how Excel does this by highlighting the cell again. Click on Manage Rules. Double-click on this icon set. From here, you will learn that Excel calculates based on percentage. If the number contributes to 67% or above on the sales, it will be indicated with the green arrow. Between 33% and 66% will be represented by yellow arrow. And anything below 33% will be the red arrow. Of course, the number can be easily tweaked by changing the value here or the type. Now, as you can see, I have two types of conditional formatting over here. So when I click on the Manage Rules, both will appear on this pop-up window. Hence, if we would like to edit the conditional formatting, we need to select the correct rules to customize. For example, I would like to manage this icon set, then I'll have to double-click on it. So from here, maybe I can change the color or the shape, or the value, or the type. Take note that we can have more than one conditional formatting in the same data cell. However, it must be from the different type of conditional formatting. For example, I can have both data bars and the icon set visualized on the same set of data. However, I can't use two icon sets in the same cell. If I'm going to choose icon set with round shape, you'll notice that it will override the previous arrow shape.